All right, everybody. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us here at Komet Cells. My name is George, and I am your host for today's webinar. The topic is warehouse management, the processes you need to learn. The main processes we'll be going over today are those that are we find that are the most useful, and definitely you will be able to take advantage of these tips, if you will, so that you can improve on your warehouse management current process. All right, so let's go ahead and move on with our presentation. Again, my name is George Velez. I am a floral business solution specialist. I work in the implementation department. If you need to contact me, my email address is george@cometcells.com. I will be more than happy to assist in anything that you may need. Important notes to keep in mind. Everyone is currently muted. We will go ahead and address questions during our Q&A session, which will be at the very end of our webinar. Keeping in mind that you can always submit written questions through the webinar control panel, and those will be again addressed at the end. The session will be recorded and shared so that you guys can take advantage of this information at your in your space, at your pace, or so that you can share with all of those that you feel may find this information useful. What's on our agenda for today? Today we have printing, receiving labels of unscanned boxes. We will be looking at blocking scanning options, assigning and managing pullers, searching for missing boxes within the scanner, manually marking boxes as received and shipped, and we will make sure that you guys are fully aware of where to access the basic Komet cell scanning process. And as always, we will go ahead and continue with our demo. So one of the first things that we want to talk about is the printing and receiving labels of unscanned boxes. What we mean by this is the printing, receiving labels to fully receive any incoming airway bill shipment. In other words, we want to make sure that if you have scanned already some boxes and perhaps the airway bill has hundreds of boxes pending to scan, you might not want to go ahead and scan with your handgun all of those boxes because the airway bill says you have, let's say, 250 boxes. You were able to finger count and come up with 250 boxes. We are somewhat 99% sure all of the boxes are there, so we want to make sure that that once we go ahead and that instead of going forward with scanning all the boxes, we can actually mark them as scanned within our Komet system, so that we can mark them as received and change the status from farm shipped. The blocking scanning options, it is a setting that we will go into detail within our setup settings section. So we'll make sure you guys understand why this option exists and how you can use it. The assigning and managing pullers. The idea with teaching you guys how to use the puller system within Komet Cells is so that you guys take advantage of the opportunity to be able to manage the pull aspect of the warehouse managing in a more efficient way. We'll go over the creating puller codes, assigning pullers to an order within the scanner, even creating the puller productivity report, as well as creating new pullers. The searching for missing boxes within the scanner. So there's a couple of things that we want to go over as we discuss this topic. One of the main things is that we want to make sure that if you're shipping out orders to your final customers, that you're aware of what boxes have been scanned, how many boxes are missing to be scanned, and also where it's located if you guys are using the location process within Komet Cells. Manually marking boxes as received. This is also a setting that we'll be going over, that just as you're able to mark boxes as shipped, you can also mark boxes as received from the setup settings section. And here is where you can mark the boxes as shipped within the user options. So we want to make sure we understand both of those different topics and features, and that you guys are able to properly set it within your Komet account. This is the basic common cell scanning process that is available in our knowledge base. I'll be sure to share with you guys the link so that you can access that and either have the link handy within your web browser or maybe even print this document so that your warehouse poolers and the backend employees have access to this process within a easy to read document. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started with the demo. Once again, any questions that you may have, go ahead and post them. We'll read them in the Q&A session at the end of the webinar presentation. Here is our contact information if needed. All right, so we want to go ahead and get started. And one of the first things that we want to go ahead and discuss is the printing receiving labels of unscanned boxes. So the idea is that you guys understand that whenever we're discussing receiving labels, we are discussing those labels that we scan in order to receive product into our warehouse. So this is product that was previously shipped from our vendor. We're receiving it and want to scan it as received within our warehouse. Sometimes as we're going through the scanning process, some labels are left unscanned. And we want to make sure that those boxes that have not been scanned are properly labeled. And it could be that the scanner cannot read the barcode, the label is damaged, or perhaps the box was just never labeled properly. And so we need to print the label to that box. Well, there's a way that Komet keeps track of what has been scanned as received, and that way you can print those labels of the items that you are still pending to scan as received. So in order to be able to view this type of information, what we want to do is go ahead and go into the tracking tab and go into the airway bill sub-tab. Within the airway bill summary sub-tab, you will have a summary of all the current airway bills that have been processed within your account, and we want to go ahead and search for the specific airway bill that we're currently scanning. For this webinar, we're going to go ahead and select airway bill ending in 9873. All right, so here we have the airway bill. Notice here that so far we have 58 boxes that were shipped by farm. 56 of them are still in a farm ship status, whereas 2 of those boxes are already assigned as received warehouse. The reason those boxes were assigned or labeled as received warehouse, it's because Komet or the user within Komet was able to actually scan those boxes. So what we want to go ahead and do is be able to scan these boxes as received. I'm going to go ahead and open my scanning system here. I'm going to go ahead and reduce the size of this screen, and I'm going to go ahead and open the scanning screen right to the side. So what I want to do is go ahead and scan some of these boxes, right? I'm going to go ahead and select the receiving option, which is option 1 on my scanner. Here we have the scanning screen, and this is where I'm entering the information. I hit enter, and the system the scanner automatically gives me the option to receive that merchandise by box or by airway bill number. I want to go ahead and do it by airway bill number because it is a more secure way to receive merchandise. When I enter an airway bill, the system will automatically know exactly how many boxes were shipped on that airway bill, how many boxes have been scanned as received, how many are pending, so that way I can easily keep track of all of that data. Right here, I just need to enter the last 4 digits of the airway bill number, and as we see from our Komet system, we have airway bill number 9873, which is what I just entered here, and I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. So now I want to go ahead and see what my current status is. So it says here 2 out of 58. What that scanner data is showing me is that so far 2 boxes have been scanned as received out of the 58 boxes that were shipped under that airway bill number. So what I want to do is go ahead and scan an additional airway bill. An additional box so that we can go ahead and see how that reflects within our Komet system. So we're going to go ahead and print the labels. I'm going to go ahead and select the printing option here from Actions within the airway bill summary screen. Within the Actions column, I can go ahead and print all of the labels for the entire airway bill. So we know 58 boxes were shipped, and here we are able to see that 58 boxes or labels for boxes were generated by Komet. So what we want to do is make sure that we only print those labels that are pending to be scanned. So far, we've scanned 2 out of 58. Let's go ahead and scan our third box. So I'm going to go ahead and type in this box code. All right. And I'm going to hit enter. Right now, we're at 2 of 58. And when I hit enter, that automatically updates to 3 of 58. And let's go ahead and scan another one. I'm just going to copy and paste the same number, change that 0 to a 1 so that we can make sure that it reflects this box code right here. Hit enter. And now it's saying 4 of 58 boxes have been scanned. So if we know that we've scanned 4 of 58 boxes, in the event the remaining of the boxes that we needed to scan were missing the Komet receiving label, what we can actually do is go back into our tracking airway bill summary. We can search for the airway bill number, and then we can go ahead. I'm going to refresh this grid so that way we can actually see the updated received warehouse boxes. It was originally at 2, but now it should be at 6. I'm sorry, at 4. So now we have it set at 4 because we scanned 2 additional boxes, 4 of 58, 4 of 58. So that means that 54 boxes are still in a farm ship status. The idea is that you guys are able to print the labels for those boxes that are actually missing labels on them. So if you go into the tracking airway bill summary from the farm shipped column, if you click on the hyperlinked number, you will be able to print the labels, select the sorted by option, and then click on print. What the system is going to do is instead of printing the 58 labels like it normally does when you go into Actions and you click on print labels, it's literally just going to print the amount of labels pending, meaning the amount of labels that have not been scanned as received yet. So notice here we have 54 boxes as opposed to 58. And 54 boxes is exactly the amount of boxes that are currently in a farm ship status. So that's how you print the pending to receive labels in case your boxes are missing those, if you do not want to print or generate the labels for all of the items in that airway bill. So that's one item down, and we have about 5 or 6 more to go. The second item that we wanted to go about to discuss is the blocking scanning options. In order to go over this option, we need to go into our setup settings. So we just easily click on setup and then settings. And this will take us to the settings of our Komet account. The idea here is that you go into your shipping options and that you view the block options in the scanner. So what this is going to do is that if you enable this option in the system will prompt for a password whenever the pullers try to use the free shipping or assign to puller options in the scan gun. So here we have the scan gun once again. I'm going to hit 0 within the scan gun so that we can go back to the main menu. And it just takes, every time I hit 0, it takes me back to the previous screen until I'm back to the main menu, which is what we see right here. So what I want to do is select the Assign Puller option. So it says here that if we enable this option, the scanning system is going to prompt for a password when someone tries to assign a puller. Well, let's go ahead and hit the number 7, hit enter, and notice here it just automatically says enter puller code. So far, there's no password required. I'm going to go ahead and enable this option and enter the password. I'm just going to use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as a password and click on save so that we can make sure that we update that information. I'm going to go ahead and select the shipping option as well. Notice here that the system just added other characters so that no one could easily find out what the password is. It's just a security feature added onto that field. And I'm going to go ahead and do the same option with the scanner. So let's go ahead and open the scanner, and I'm going to go back to the main menu, and I'm going to select option 7. So I'm right here. I'm going to write option 7 and hit enter. Notice here that it's prompting me for a password. So I need to type in 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, hit enter, and now the system will allow me to assign a puller code since I have entered that password. Notice that this password protected option doesn't just block the assigning order to puller option, which is number 7, but it also blocks the free shipping option. So if we use option 4, we will also be prompted for a password. Just going to show that to you guys. 0, option 4, hit enter, and there you go. It's prompting me for the password, since this affects both option 4, free shipping, and option 7, assign order to puller. All right, so those are the two blocking scanning options that we wanted to discuss today. You can definitely use these as you feel the need, based on your specific operation. Um, Topic 3 was assigning and managing poolers. So it ties in well with what we just went over, but let's go ahead and make sure that we look at the proper screen to be able to assign poolers. So whenever we're assigning poolers, what we want to shift our focus to is the shipping tab. So here we have, let me go ahead and make this a little bigger. Um, we have the shipping tab, and we have the order summary sub-tab. All right. So within the order summary sub-tab, we have the actions button right above. And here we have the option to manage warehouse poolers. So the idea is that a pooler gets assigned to an order so that they can go ahead and go back into the warehouse, and based on where the product is located, pool the product, or so that they can fulfill the order and prep the order to be shipped out to the final customer. Komet allows you to manage different warehouse pooling features. You're able to assign new uh, pooler poolers into the system. All you need to do is just go into, again, the actions button, click on manage warehouse poolers, and then from this screen you're able to either select a specific pooler and generate either either edit the information or delete it, add a new pooler by clicking the new pooler option, filling in the first name, the last name, and clicking on save. And then you can even search by that name, John Smith, right here. Or you can also export to PDF those pooler codes. So what we can actually do is, after something results from a search, we can click on export to PDF, and what the system is going to do is it's going to create a PDF document based on those items, so that way you can have the pooler codes, and you can actually scan this code whenever you're assigning poolers to an order within the scanning option, within the using the scanner menu. So we're going to go ahead and do that. First thing is creating the pooler. So again, just to go back into this process, we go into the actions button, click on Manage Warehouse Poolers, click on New Pooler, fill out the information, and click on Save. We can export to PDF to generate our warehouse pooler code document that associates the pooler name with the pooler code, so we can actually assign the pooler to a pick ticket or to an order using the scanning menu. So we're going to go ahead and use the scanner to be able to assign a pooler. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and select option 0. I'm going to select option 7 to assign order to pooler. I'm going to type in my password, since it's password protected, and now it's telling me to enter the pooler code. Because this is a webinar and it's virtual, I can't really show you guys how the scanning process, but so I'm just going to type in the pooler code into the menu here, so that we can go ahead and assign the order to a pooler. So any order that I scan or any pick ticket that gets scanned after we enter the pooler code will automatically be assigned to that pooler. So I'm going to type in enter. Oh, let's see this once again and hit enter. All right, so now it picked up that the pooler's name is Carlos Rodriguez, which is the pooler that we have right here. So we assign Carlos Rodriguez. We just scanned Carlos Rodriguez's code, and now we're ready to scan the pick tickets. I'm going back into my order summary screen, and I'm going to see which orders are pending to be shipped. So let's go ahead and look for orders. I'm just going to go ahead and expand my search a little bit to the 1st of December. Click on search, and I'm just going to go ahead and see if there's an order that hasn't been assigned to anybody. All right, and let's go ahead and see which order we want to go ahead and work with. And let's see if we can do order 217148. Or, well, let's do 147 since it has more items. All right, so there we have it. So far, 0 items have been scanned, and we have not assigned a pooler. So I'm going to go ahead and assign that pick ticket to Carlos Rodriguez. I'm just going to type in my pick ticket code. Remember that you can generate a pick ticket by selecting the line item, clicking on actions, and clicking on the print pick ticket option. You scan the pick ticket barcode, and you will be able to assign that pick ticket to the previously assigned pooler. So again, we have not assigned this to any pooler, and I'm going to go ahead and type in that order number 217147, and I'm going to hit enter within my screen. So we have assigned that pick ticket to Carlos, and we can go ahead and see now that the pooler assigned to it is Carlos Rodriguez. And when we hover over with our cursor, we're able to see when Carlos was assigned and at what time, Eastern Standard Time, was Carlos assigned to that order. That is information that the system uses so that you're able to manage their productivity. All right, so now that we have assigned that code, we want to go ahead and scan some of these items. So notice here that so far 0 items have been scanned. So we want to go ahead and, if we continue to enter pick tickets, by the way, the system will continue to assign orders to that same pooler up until we scan a new pooler code, and then the system will start assigning those orders to that new pooler. Let's go ahead and move on to scanning some of these boxes, because let's go ahead and do the whole shipping process. So now we're going to go ahead and ship some items. So the shipping option, I went back to my main menu. My shipping option is option number 2. I'm going to go ahead and ship by pick ticket. And I'm going to either, it says here, enter the pick ticket or the pooler code. If we enter the pooler code, the system will automatically associate all of the pick tickets that were assigned to that pooler, and it will definitely give us the update based on that. But I'm going to go ahead and assign pick ticket. So I'm going to type in PT and then 217147. So now we have 0 of 4 boxes scanned, right? So we want to go ahead and print some of the shipping labels. I'm just selecting the line item and clicking on the print labels option. These are shipping labels, the labels that we use to ship out to our final customer. All right. And so notice here that as soon as we print the labels, we get a check mark within the label printed column, letting us know the labels have been printed, pick ticket has been printed, and pooler has been assigned. Now that we have the labels right here, so we have 4 different boxes, 4 different labels that we need to scan. We can actually start scanning labels, right? So let's go ahead and scan the first one. So I need to go ahead and copy that. And it says here, enter the inventory box code or pick ticket. So I'm just going to go ahead and enter the inventory box code. All right, and now it says that 1 of 4 items have been scanned as shipped. And if we go back into this order, within the scanned column, you will see that it will be updated with the amount of boxes that have been scanned. All right. So notice here that there's an immediate communication between whatever the puller is doing on the scan gun and what the shipping screen is displaying within your Comet Sales platform. All right. So now we have assigned a pick ticket, and we have seen that the puller has started working on that order. If we remain within here, we can actually create a report, and we can create a report so that we can actually let's see here, we can actually see what went on while the Puller was working on the account. So let's go ahead and so that automatically you can download that information and you can see what was this, what items were resulted from a filter search, and be able to look at additional information from that carrier pick ticket report. All right. So what we want to go ahead and do is search for mixing boxes within the scanner. So as we're scanning product, what can happen is that we could have scanned multiple items, but there's still certain items pending to be scanned, but we don't know which items those are. Well, we can use our scan gun to further help us with that. Within the scan gun, you have the help option where you can actually view more options. So all you need to do is type in the H, and the system will give you some other options. It shows you missing boxes or the order summary, or a summary of the orders pending. I'm going to go ahead and select option M. And right here, what we get to see is that based on the pick ticket, and I'm just going to type in pick ticket 217147, it'll let us know exactly what has happened. So right here, we are able, oh, give me 1 second. All right. So I'm typing the information again since we need to put in a capital P and capital T, 217147. All right. So what the system will show you here if there's anything that was assigned a rack number, you will be able to see the information here of all of the items pending to be scanned. Let's go ahead and look at a different order here. Let's see if we change that pick ticket to, let's go ahead and do H. Sometime. So here again, because this box doesn't have any items that were have a rack location, it's not giving us the detail information. But whenever you do have items with the location, the system will let you know exactly what's pending to be scanned. If anything is missing, you can also, like I was mentioning before, select the order summary option, and what the system is going to show you is that based on the order, it'll display how many items were supposed to be scanned within the order and how many have been scanned, so that you can determine how many boxes are currently pending to be scanned depending on the order. And again, the M option shows it based on the actual box. So if the box, based on box code and rack number, it'll give you the box code, lot number, and rack. It'll give you the information. All right. Manually marking boxes as received and manually marking boxes as shipped are two of our last topics. The idea here is that if ever you find yourself with a big shipment that has already been visually accounted for, you were able to hand count the items both for receiving and shipping, so that you don't actually have to go through the process of scanning an entire airway bill shipment that you're receiving, or an entire order shipment that's being sent out to final customers. You can actually mark orders as received or as shipped within the setup settings. So let's go ahead and go into our Komet system once again. Within our setup settings, we have we have a scanning option, so that the system so that you're able to make it so that users are able to manually mark boxes as received. What this option is going to do is that it's going to enable within the tracking airway bill summary screen an option for the user to be able to mark boxes as received. So let's go ahead and see what that looks like. If we go into our tracking airway bill summary, we can actually, from the actions column, click on the drop down arrow. And here we have the option to receive airway bill. If for any reason that setting is not enabled, then that option will automatically disappear. So what we can actually do is go back into setting, scanner options, remove it, click on save, and let's see if by refreshing this screen, it'll update that option so that you guys can see it. So notice here you no longer have the receive airway bill option because that setting has been disabled. So if you want to be able to mark an item as received, so that you don't have to go into the process of scanning every single item, just make sure that through setup settings, within the shipping option under the scanner options, you enable the allow users to manually mark boxes as received. Click on save. We can go back to our airway bill summary screen, refresh it, make sure that it does get refreshed. And then notice here that we just marked 4 boxes as received. But since now we have that receive airway bill option, all of those 58 boxes will now be labeled as received instead of the only 4. So I'm just going to click on receive. Make sure that you read the messages. I'm going to click on yes, proceed, and refresh. All right, this is taking a little longer. Let me try that one more time. Sorry, give me 1 second. Make sure that before you guys are able to mark the boxes as confirmed, as scanned, that everything has been marked as received within your staging area. Unless the item isn't marked as received or confirmed as received, you will not be able to actually mark it. If you don't confirm it as received, you can't mark it as received within that tracking option. So now that I've received them, I can actually complete the receive airway bill option. Receive airway bill option. And now we do have 54 boxes that were successfully marked as received. We can refresh, and 58 boxes are now received warehouse. So again, it's just as simple as reading the message. Once an item has been received, the receive airway bill option will no longer display. All right. So that's marking items as received, so you don't have to fully scan them. And then we can also manually mark boxes as shipped. In order to be able to do that, what we need to do is enable that option for each user. Within the setup users option, if you have a warehouse employee that has access to the inventory, shipping, or tracking tab, you can actually make it so that whenever they're shipping orders to final customers, that they have the option to mark those orders as received. So if we click under actions, we click edit, This screen automatically pops up so that we can actually edit the user options. Here you can enable different roles, or we can click on the Options tab so we can, on top of the options that they have enabled through the user role, we can actually set them to be able to manually mark orders as scanned. And this right here will allow the user to mark orders as completely scanned from the shipping order summary screen. So without this being enabled, the shipping order summary screen normally looks like this. Shipping order summary. Within the actions column, you wouldn't have any other option. However, if you enable the option to receive or to mark those items as shipped, then as soon as you do that, you're going to be able to see that as follows. So if we go into the shipping setup, I'm sorry, we go into the shipping order summary. If it is enabled, after you enable it, then within the actions column, they will be able to mark the orders as scanned. Notice here that we have the mark as scanned option. All right. You guys, this is the last topic before showing you where you can view the basic Komet cell scanning process overview document. I want to make sure that if you guys have any questions, you take this opportunity to be able to submit them. And as we do that, we wanted to take two polls. We wanted to understand if you guys are current Komet users. So I'm currently launching a poll. You guys have about 30 seconds to respond. Just let us know if you're currently a Komet user or not. All right, so we're going to give it 15 more seconds. All right, so far 50% of the people joining us have voted, and 100% of them are Komet users. And then we have a second poll that we wanted to send to you guys. And that's whether or not, I'm sorry, if you can tell us what industry you guys are currently in. We're going to go ahead and launch the poll. We'll give it 15, 20 seconds. And remember that as we're waiting on these responses, and thank you so much for your participation, let us know if you guys have any questions. All right? All right, so far 67% of you are wholesalers and 33% of you are growers. We're still waiting on any questions if you guys have anything else that we can expand on. We'll give it a 10 seconds here. So we do have a question here. We have a question stating if it is required if you have to, as Komet Sales users, to specify where a product is located within your warehouse in order to use the scanner. I want to go ahead and take your attention again to the shipping inventory option. And from here, you guys are able to see what the location is of all of the items in your warehouse. So if you have positioning, you will be able to position from your scanner by printing the rack labels and then making sure that you scan the rack label and then the boxes so that the boxes are associated to the rack label. But please know that the positioning, it's completely optional and it's not something that you will have to do in order to be able to use the scanner. All right. Seems like somebody else is submitting a question. Just waiting for that question to be submitted. So I just got a question of whether or not it's better to scan boxes by an airway bill number or by the box number, and that question is referring to. Let me go ahead and open my scanner message here. So whenever we're receiving, I'm going back here to the main menu. Whenever we're receiving product from our scanner, it gives us the option of buy box or buy airway bill. The idea of scanning product by an airway bill is that whenever you guys are viewing airway bill information, you actually know, the system knows exactly how many boxes are associated to an airway bill. For example, for airway bill 9873, we know that there are 58 boxes associated to it. So whenever we select an airway bill, and maybe let's see if that I don't know if it's a good option since it's already been scanned, but let's try it anyway. Um, so right here, definitely, it lets you know, based on airway bill, how many boxes need to be scanned, and how many boxes, the total amount of boxes that were associated to that airway bill or group within that airway bill. So it's always a more controlled process to receive product based on airway bill than just by box number. All right. Remember that that you can also, if you use this option, you can also have the manual option to mark the boxes as received directly from the Comet system or the Comet platform instead of actually moving forward and scanning the 58 boxes. All right. I'm going to see here if there's any other questions. All right. There's two questions that were asked that were not really part of this training, but I'm going to do the best to make sure that I go over this information briefly. Wish I had more time to go over this, but what the two questions are: how can I return a box, and can I change or assign a new position to the boxes? Within your scanner options, you do have a way to be able to return boxes. So whenever you select option 6 from your scanner, let's go back to the main. So we have option 6, which is return boxes. What the system is going to do is that it's going to allow you to scan the pick ticket, which is referring to the order that you invoiced that product under. So let's see if we have an order here. Let's go into shipping order summary. 217148. All right, and then we can go ahead, since we would have the box available because the customer would have returned it. We would scan the box, and that box code would automatically be added back into your Comet sales inventory, so that you can make use of that system. Remember that you also have to do the return of the item within the invoice, the actual invoice. You have to go into order entry, add or edit credit, so that you can actually enter the item, and it's not just within your shipping inventory, but it also goes back into your inventory summary, so that the box can be resold in case it needs to be resold. All right. All right, you guys. So it doesn't seem like we have any other questions? I do appreciate your time. We look forward to your comments on this webinar and making sure that we bring to you topics that are relevant, and that we discuss things that definitely add value to you and to the way you operate on a daily basis, and the way you use Comet for your daily operations. There was one other thing I wanted to mention before leaving, and that was the scanning process overview. If you guys if you're going to need help and click on the learn more of the knowledge base, you can actually search for the scanning process overview. So if you're within the knowledge base screen right here, which is our main screen, you can just do scanner process overview, and you will be able to find the link. You will be able to find the link to this option right here within the scanning process overview, and you can actually download the item and print it, so that you can, maybe paste it somewhere in your warehouse, so that your warehouse employees know some of the most basic options that you can obtain from using a scan gun within your warehouse operation, as well as use this along with the information provided on the webinar, so that you can make your warehouse managing process better and more efficient every day. Once again, thank you. My name is George, and you guys can contact me at any time at the following email, george@cometcells.com.